Lisa, it's me. They slammed the door in my face. Mom and Dad said I don't belong there anymore. To them, I'm just some washed-up hippie who doesn't measure up. I've got nowhere else to turn. Please let me stay with you, just a few days, until I can make them listen. On the other end, her voice tightened, sharp with fear. You know how rigid this neighborhood is, David. Just be careful. What if someone sees you? It won't be long. Just a few days, maybe a week, until I get through to them. She sighed, reluctant but softening. All right, but you'll have to slip in unnoticed. Once you're here, you don't leave. Stay out of sight. Relief spilled through me. Perfect. I'll be there soon. An hour later, I knocked on her door. Lisa opened it, frowning at the tall figure in a shaggy coat under the dim porch light. Yes? Hi, Lisa. Her eyes widened when she realized it was me, disguised by the long coat and rolled-up pants. Get in here! She pulled me inside, then wrapped her arms around me, the hug carrying the weight of nearly a year apart. My hair, now brushing the middle of my back, gleamed dark and freshly washed. She studied the coat. Where'd you get this thing? $5 on Main Street, I grinned. She shook her head but smiled, motioning me to sit. I'll make some coffee, and we can catch up. I watched her fuss with the filter, clumsy as ever. Here, let me, I said gently, sliding in beside her. Within minutes, the rich aroma of coffee filled the kitchen, and bagels warmed in the oven. I called home, I admitted, my voice low. Dad told me not to come over. He thinks I'm some filthy dropout. I'll just lay low here until things cool down, then move along. Her expression softened. I'll talk to Mom. Maybe she can sway him. Just don't leave the apartment. I'll be back from work around 5. That night, I crashed in her spare room, exhaustion pulling me under. Morning came with the shrill blare of Lisa's backup alarm. I lingered beneath the blanket, reluctant to move, but finally dragged myself into the shower. I slipped into one of her robes while my own clothes tumbled in the wash. Bored, I wandered into her bedroom. It was a lace-trimmed mirror of her childhood room frills, ribbons, little touches of softness everywhere. Opening her closet, my eyes lingered on the rows of dresses. A robe felt too idle, too temporary. Without thinking too hard, I slid into a pair of panties, snug and strange against my skin, then tugged a faded but still pretty dress over my head. Wrestling with the zipper, I finally got it up and slipped into an old pair of shoes that happened to fit. The hours stretched, and to keep my hands busy, I cleaned. Dust vanished, floors gleamed, counters sparkled. By the time the sun tilted toward evening, the apartment looked as if it belonged to someone entirely different. A roast filled the air with the rich scent of garlic and herbs. When the door finally opened, Lisa froze on the threshold, startled by the smell of a proper meal, and even more by the sight of me at the stove, apron tied neatly at my waist, skirt brushing my thighs. "Who are—" she started, eyes darting from my face to the dress. I turned, calm, as though nothing were unusual. "Dinner's almost ready. Sit down." Her mouth opened, closed, then slowly curved into disbelief. But she did as I asked, sliding into her chair, while her eyes kept darting around the immaculate apartment that had never looked this polished before. My casual ease unsettled her at first, but she sat down anyway, the table perfectly set before her, the apartment shining in a way it never had. Lisa's gaze flicked from the polished silverware to me in her dress, and finally she blurted, "David, what on earth is going on? Why are you in a dress?" I shrugged lightly, refusing to make it dramatic. "I threw my clothes in the wash. Walking around naked didn't sound like a great option, so I borrowed one of yours. I had to wear something, right?" She didn't answer immediately, so I pressed on. "Even my sneakers were in the wash, so I grabbed these old shoes. Is it okay?" After a long pause, Lisa gave a small nod. "Besides, I couldn't just sit here watching soap operas all day," I added, motioning to the gleaming countertops. "So I cleaned. Consider it my way of saying thanks for letting me crash here." She watched me as I moved around the kitchen, my long hair brushing my shoulders, my steps unbothered, as though her clothes were mine. Something shifted in her expression, the spark of an idea taking shape. "I talked to Mom today," she said slowly. "She told me Dad's still stubborn about what he calls long hairs. But she'll keep at him. It might take a week, maybe longer. If you're staying here, maybe you should just lean into it. Wear dresses every day. Do the shopping if we need something. If the doorbell rings, let people see a girl instead of you." The suggestion hung in the air, daring me to reach for it. That night we sat side by side, the TV flickering shadows across the room. Later, in the guest room, I found a nightgown folded neatly on the bed. I hesitated only briefly before slipping into it. The fabric whispered against my skin, soft and strangely comforting. Lying there in the dark, I thought about Lisa's proposal. She had a point. Being cooped up here, idle, would drive me crazy. Maybe this was worth trying. The next morning, after she left for work, curiosity got the better of me. I decided to test just how difficult or easy it might be to pass as a girl for a while. I started with a bath, pouring in her bubble solution until the tub frothed with white foam. Warm water embraced me as I sank down, a razor in hand. I shaved carefully, methodically, legs, arms, underarms, even the sparse hair on my chest. When I stepped out to rinse off, my skin felt startlingly bare. Padding into her room, I reached for a pair of panties again. This time the silky nylon glided up my legs, and the shiver it sent through me was electric. My skin felt unnaturally smooth, every touch magnified. Pantyhose came next, awkward at first, until I figured out the trick. Once they were on, the sensation of the sheer fabric tightening against my legs was exquisite. I lingered on the feeling, marveling at it. I clasped one of Lisa's bras around my chest, stuffing the cups with socks until they filled out. Then I chose a short, dark green skirt, modest but still daring, and a white blouse. I left the blouse aside for the moment, sitting instead at her vanity. I had never touched makeup before, but Lisa and I shared similar coloring. I opened a bottle of foundation, dabbing it clumsily across my cheeks and forehead. The difference was instant, shocking. My reflection shifted, the familiar lines of my face softening, transforming. For the first time, I didn't just look like me in a dress. I looked like someone else entirely, someone new. I dusted my face with the powder scattered across her vanity, waited a moment, then brushed the excess away. The transformation was startling, almost unreal. My skin looked smoother, softer, as though I'd shed a layer of myself. Next came the eyeshadow. I fumbled with the slim applicator, dabbing a hesitant sweep of green across my lids. It wasn't perfect, far from it, but it added color and depth I'd never seen on my face before. Then the eyeliner, a trembling black line that wavered as I tried to steady my hand. Awkward, yes, but effective. Finally, the lipstick, a vivid, brazen red. I traced my lips carefully, mimicking the way I had seen Lisa do it, and when I leaned back from the mirror, a stranger stared back. A stranger I wanted to know. I grabbed a brush and tugged it through my thick hair. No real style emerged, so I gathered it into a high ponytail, tying it tight with a green scrunchie I dug out of her drawer. A pair of barrettes tamed stray strands, and with cautious scissors, I trimmed my bangs into a blunt edge across my forehead. When I slipped back into the black heels I'd worn the night before, the picture felt complete. The mirror didn't just reflect me, it reflected possibility. Proud, almost defiant, I decided not to hide. Not today. I tucked the spare key Lisa had given me into an old purse, tossed in my wallet, some tissues, and a tube of lipstick for good measure. Pulling on the same furry coat that had concealed me when I first arrived, I stepped out. The heels clicked sharply against the sidewalk, each strike echoing a thrill through my chest. The skirt brushed across my nylon-sheathed legs, the chill air tingling against my bare skin. Every step was a reminder of how completely different I felt. At the grocery store, I moved cautiously at first, waiting for stares, for whispers, but none came. People passed by, carts rattling, eyes sliding past me with indifference. No one looked twice. I strolled the aisles, gathered what I needed, and paid without a flicker of suspicion. On the way back, fate tested me. At the door, just as I slid the key into the lock, the landlady appeared. "Hello, I'm Mrs. Collins. And you are?" My pulse jumped, but I forced a smile. "Oh, hi. I'm Lisa's sister, Rachel. Nice to meet you." Her brows rose. She never mentioned a sister. I shrugged lightly, slipping into character. "I'm only in town for a couple of weeks before heading back. Just visiting." "Ah, well, nice meeting you." I pushed inside, closed the door quickly, and leaned against it, breath spilling out in a nervous laugh. I poured a glass of milk to steady myself, then got to work in the kitchen without changing. By the time Lisa returned, the apartment was alive with the aroma of homemade spaghetti sauce, fresh bread warming in the oven, salad crisp and ready, lemon pie cooling on the counter. She stepped in, blinking at the feast, then at me still dressed in her clothes, makeup smudged from the day. Over dinner, I recounted my adventure, the trip to the store, the lie I'd spun, the name I'd given Mrs. Collins. She said she'd never heard of a sister named Rachel. Just a heads up, in case she mentions it. Nosy old broad, if you ask me. Lisa shot me a look, half stern, half amused. "Now, Rachel, that's unkind. She keeps an eye on all of us, like we're her own children." Then her expression softened. "Stand up! Let me see you!" I rose from my chair, heart thudding as she studied me. After a long moment, she smiled warm, approving. "You look good, really good. A little more practice with the eyeliner and shadow, and you'll be fine," Lisa said, leaning back with a critical but encouraging eye. "But your hair needs help. Tomorrow's Saturday. Why don't we go to the salon? Get it shaped, trimmed, something easier to manage." I blinked at her. "A salon? Isn't that going a bit too far?" "Not at all," she replied quickly, leaning in. "Dad's not changing his mind anytime soon. If you're going to keep this up living here, as my sister, you should at least look the part. A haircut, maybe some work on your nails. It'll make a world of difference. You'll look more like a girl who takes care of herself, and maybe even start to feel it too." And that's exactly what we need right now, for you to feel like a girl, not just a boy in a dress. So, will you? I hesitated, then shrugged. "I guess, as long as they don't cut too much off." That night, I slept deeply, but Lisa stayed awake, quietly making plans for her sister. In the morning, she met me at the door of my room. "Get dressed in what you wore yesterday, Rachel. Take your shower first, I'll change after." The water steamed around me as I shaved carefully, closer than ever before. When I came back into my room, ready to pull on the clothes from yesterday, I froze. Something unfamiliar lay on the bed. "Lisa!" I called. She appeared in the doorway, a mischievous grin tugging at her lips. "I do believe I'll need some help with this, whatever it is." "Panties and hose first," she said firmly. "Then I'll be back." I obeyed, tugging on the silky underwear and sliding the sheer hose carefully over my legs. When I called her in again, she held the garment in her hands like a secret weapon. "A corset. Raise your arms and take a deep breath," she instructed. The laces pulled tight, drawing me in until my waist cinched sharply and my back was forced straighter than ever. "You can finish dressing now," she said, stepping back. When I clasped my bra, I suddenly noticed the shift my chest pressed upward, pushed into the cups until, lowering my arms, I looked down and gasped. "Lisa, I have boobs!" She laughed softly. An old trick. Most girls figure it out eventually. The skirt that had felt snug before now slipped on smoothly, and when Lisa finished lacing me fully into the corset, my figure had transformed. Curves I had never known were now undeniable, Everything from how I sat to how I breathed, even the way I walked shifted under its influence. Sit at the vanity, Rachel. Let me do your hair. Easier said than done. The corset made sitting stiff and deliberate, every motion exaggerated. But Lisa worked with brisk confidence, rolling, spraying, pinning, until finally my hair was swept up into a soft chignon. When she handed me my blouse and I buttoned it, the effect was startling. "You're ready," she said at last, slipping my purse into my hands. When we stepped into the hallway, Mrs. Collins glanced up from her door. She didn't see David anymore. She saw two girls leaving together. Two attractive girls. At the mall, my feet carried me almost automatically toward the beauty shop, as though the decision had already been made. Lisa leaned toward the stylist. "This is my sister Rachel. She needs some work, see what you can do." The operator, Nicole, guided me to a chair, flipping through style books with practiced ease. My hair, straight but with a hint of wave, was coaxed into something fresh and flattering. She cut, shaped, and styled until the soft curl caught the light in exactly the right way. My nails were trimmed, filed, and given short acrylic extensions before being painted a gentle plum shade. An hour and a half later, I stepped out of that salon, transformed. My hair framed my face, my nails gleamed elegantly, and the reflection in every passing mirror startled me with how natural it looked. Lisa beamed. "See? I told you!" And for the first time, I felt it too, something deeper than disguise. I wasn't just dressed like a girl. I was moving, carrying myself, feeling like one. Nicole had shaped my hair, so it flowed in soft waves down my back, the front brushed into place with a casual sweep, the sides curling just at my chin. When I stepped out of the salon, Lisa's face lit up as if she were seeing me for the first time. "God, you're beautiful!" she exclaimed, grinning as we walked away together. I felt a glow rising inside me, the thrill of being someone new, someone whole. Her reaction told me she had already begun to picture me as more than a temporary guest. She was imagining me as her sister, and she wasn't wrong. "You'll need clothes of your own," she said firmly. "I don't like sharing underwear. We'll get you bras, panties, a couple of skirts and dresses, something that's really yours." We wandered past the shops, peering in at the displays, until suddenly a voice rang out. "Excuse me!" Lisa froze, then turned. "Mom!" I stiffened, but Lisa didn't hesitate. She slipped seamlessly into the lie. "This is my friend Rachel. She's staying with me for a few days." Before I could even breathe, Dad appeared beside her. Lisa repeated the introduction, smooth and steady. "Well, we need to get Rachel a ton of things. Bye." What I didn't see was Dad's quiet gesture, the slip of his credit card into Lisa's hand. By the time we finally staggered out of the mall, we were drowning in bags. 3 pairs of shoes, bras and panties, 2 dresses, a suit, slips, a corset, pantyhose, skirts and blouses, a purse, gloves, a winter coat, earrings, bracelets, necklaces, even a full makeup session done by a professional. Back at the car, I shook my head, laughing weakly. "This is too much, Lisa. Do I really need all of it?" "You wear clean clothes every day, don't you?" she shot back. "We girls do too, we just wear more. And besides, did you notice Mom or Dad so much as flinch when they saw you? Did they look like they recognized you?" I had to admit it. They hadn't. And if I was honest with myself, I was starting to enjoy all of this. When we got back and unpacked, Lisa wasn't about to let the evening slip by. "It's Saturday, Rachel. Nobody stays home unless they're sick. Let's go out." I couldn't argue, not after all she'd done for me, not after she'd spent so much. "All right, sis. What should we wear?" We stepped out later in short, flippy skirts, mine a vivid red, hers a playful blue paired with light sweaters. My 3-inch heels still felt like stilts, each step a balancing act. We arrived at Silver Star, the local country dance hall, and as soon as we walked in, The men at the bar whistled and hooted. My stomach clenched, certain they'd read me. Lisa nudged me. Relax. They do that to every girl who walks through the door. We found a table, the music swelling around us, as couples took the floor. It didn't take long for me to understand Lisa's insistence on proper underthings. With every twirl, skirts lifted and flashed the bright panties beneath. Then a tall man appeared beside me, hand outstretched. I wanted to refuse, but there was no graceful way to do it. I slipped my hand into his, and he led me to the floor. He was a strong, confident dancer, and soon the rhythm carried me along. My skirt flared, my heels tapped, and for the first time, I felt the dance carry me instead of me carrying it. Across the floor, Lisa spun in her own partner's arms, her laughter ringing out. When the music finally paused, she collapsed back into her chair, flushed and exhilarated. "What's the matter, Rachel?" she asked, catching her breath. I smiled, still catching mine. "I'm not sure. Just excited to be here, I guess." We danced again and again that night. Tyler, the tall man who had first claimed me, lingered close. When the music finally slowed, he leaned down. "Come with me. Let's get out of here." Panic flared, but I forced a polite smile. "I'm here with my sister, Tyler. Maybe I'll see you again sometime." He pressed a soft kiss to my hand before retreating, leaving me both rattled and strangely pleased. Lisa leaned in, smirking. "I saw you with that guy, Rachel. You looked like a real couple." Her teasing grin faltered the moment she caught my uneasy expression, and she let the subject drop. That night, I barely slept. I lay awake, tangled in sheets and thoughts that refused to settle. I knew I was a man, but the thrill, the strange comfort of dressing as a woman, was undeniable. The mirror's reflection no longer shocked me. It stirred something I couldn't name. By morning, I decided there was only one thing to do: commit. I drew a hot bath, letting the steam soften my skin as I shaved everything once again, legs, arms, chest, until I was bare and smooth. Back in my room, I slipped into a pair of white lace-trimmed panties, delicate French cuts that hugged my hips. Sliding them on felt like stepping out of one body and into another. I tucked carefully, smoothing myself flat, and when I glanced down, the effect was startlingly natural. I cinched myself into the new white corset, this one, with front laces that let me pull it tight on my own. Then came the bra, a white 36B with lace demi-cups. Clipping the hooks in front, I watched my chest push forward into a subtle swell. With foam pads tucked neatly inside, the illusion was shockingly real. A soft, convincing cleavage. I rolled sheer hose up my freshly shaved legs, fastening them with the corset's garters. They tugged the nylon snug against my skin, the tension delicious. Over that went a matching slip trimmed in lace, smooth against my thighs. I remembered every step the professional makeup artist had shown me at the mall. Foundation first, creamy and thick under my fingers, evening my skin tone and erasing the faint shadow of stubble. Powder followed, brushed on and whisked away until my face was matte and flawless. For eyes, I layered pale blue shadow with lilac, blending carefully with a sponge until the colors melted together. A sleek stroke of liquid eyeliner swept across my upper lids, sharpened by a line of black pencil beneath. Mascara thickened my lashes into a sultry frame, and in the mirror my eyes seemed larger, darker, someone else's eyes. I brushed out my hair, sprayed it lightly, and watched as it fell effortlessly into place, held in soft waves. The outfit came together piece by piece, a white gabardine A-line skirt that stopped just above the knee, snug but perfect. A red blouse with a square neckline that revealed the faintest glimpse of cleavage, and over it all, a tailored jacket to match the skirt, sleek and form-fitting. Lipstick brightened my smile, perfume kissed my wrists, and with my purse-packed keys, tissues, lipstick, compact, I walked out of the room and froze. "Good morning, Ma Rachel." My parents were there, sitting calmly, waiting for me. My mother's eyes softened. "You look just lovely, dear." I swallowed, panic surging. I, uh, Mornin'. Rachel, my father said, voice breaking. Sit down a moment. His hands trembled as he folded them together. We we have a spare room at our house, and we were wondering if you would like to come live with us. The world tilted. My parents, who had slammed the door in my face, who had pushed me out, were now asking me back. And they were calling me Rachel. Dad's voice cracked as he stared at the floor, his fingers gripping his temples. We used to have a son at our house, he whispered, each word heavy with regret. I made mistakes. Too many. I drove him away. In my pride, in my stupidity, I lost him. For days I told myself I was right, but every night the silence in our home grew heavier. And now, seeing you, I realize how wrong I was. He paused, swallowing hard, before looking at me through watery eyes. But Rachel, dear, we know it's you. We knew the moment Lisa brought you home. We asked her to get you what you needed. That was our card she used. All of it, we wanted it for you. Come back, as you are. Be our daughter or our son. We don't care anymore. Just come home. For a long time I couldn't move, couldn't even breathe. His words crashed over me, breaking apart everything I thought I knew about him. The man who had always demanded toughness, conformity, obedience, now sat trembling before me, begging only for me to return. My mother, steady as ever, placed her hand over his, as if binding the words into a vow. Something shifted deep inside me then. For years I had been running, chasing an undefined dream, convinced the world had locked its doors on me. But maybe it hadn't been the world at all. Maybe it had been me, hiding from what I was meant to discover. I cleared my throat, my voice unsteady. Dad, I said, waiting until his eyes finally rose to meet mine. I like being Rachel. It's what I've been searching for all along. If you and Mom will let me, that's who I want to be, from now on. The silence broke. My mother's tears spilled freely, and even my father, stern, iron-willed, unyielding, bowed his head and wept. We cried together, all four of us, until our tears blurred into something like laughter. And when it was over, we repaired our makeup, adjusted our hair, straightened our skirts, and stepped out as though nothing had broken at all. We walked to the elevator, arm in arm. Mrs. Collins emerged from her apartment at that exact moment, giving us a sharp, curious glance. Mrs. Collins, Lisa said warmly, you remember Rachel? Of course. She's a lovely girl, just like you. And these are our parents, Lisa added smoothly. Dad's voice was steady now, certain. Our girls are coming to church with us today. Would you like to join us, Mrs. Collins? By the way her expression softened, I knew any lingering doubts she might have had were gone. She saw us only as a family, nothing more. That Sunday became the first I'd spent with them, as Rachel sitting in the pew beside my mother, Dad's arm brushing mine, Lisa humming along to hymns. We went to lunch afterward, laughing as though 3 years of silence had never stretched between us. And when Mom helped me pack my new clothes later that day, I carried them not back to Lisa's spare room, but to my parents' house, my home, for the first time in years. Life settled into a rhythm I never could have imagined. Dad and I found new ways to connect, sitting late into the night over coffee, talking about nothing and everything. His endearments softened, until one evening he called me kitten. I nearly choked on my drink, but he only smiled, the gesture small but undeniable. Acceptance in his way. I grew sharper with makeup, quicker with hair, more confident with clothes. The mirror stopped being my enemy and became a collaborator, showing me not what I had lost, but what I had gained. And then there was the man I met at Silver Star. A casual smile across the dance floor, an outstretched hand, a laugh shared over country music and neon lights. We've been seeing each other quietly coffee dates, drives through the countryside, stolen dances in crowded halls. Nothing serious yet, nothing defined. But I can feel the tension building, like the hush before a storm. Because every time he looks at me, every time his fingers brush mine, I wonder if he sees more than Rachel. I wonder if he suspects. And I wonder when the truth finally comes out. As truths always do, will he pull me closer? Or will the fragile world I've just begun to build shatter all over again? For now, I smile, I laugh, I dance. But in the quiet, when the music fades and I'm left alone with my thoughts, one question refuses to leave me. How does this story end if it ever truly does? And that, more than anything else, is what keeps me awake at night.